Hey guys, we're back again with the Real Talk. It's our second edition. The first one went really well. So I'm Terry Birkett. My partner in crime is Scott Haney. Say hello, Scott.
Yes.
He's a beast of a man. Yeah,
Hello,
we're
everyone.
back for round two.
That was great. The first episode was awesome. We got really good comments, feedback. I think you guys are enjoying it. I hope so. So I hope you like this one as well.
Yeah. What are we talking about tonight?
Well, see, this is pretty cool, actually. So we were talking about we've gotten different ideas to come up with episodes, and we're almost just like flipping through cards trying to pick the next one. So the next one we came up with was light sparring versus hard sparring, and we're talking about from different aspects like. Terry was touching on like with point fighting or point fighters that gain that speed and the ability for head defense and transfer to full contact. I was looking more at it from the aspect of this is basically physical and mental damage, concussions, and all that kind of stuff over cumulative years. So we were talking about that a little bit, and then as we're discussing this, a video came out, and I saw it on Instagram. And it was posted. Let me see the gentleman's name. I'm probably going. I don't have his name. It was Evgeny. I can't remember his last name now because it's in Russian. I know he's with the IFK. I know he's a former two-time world champion for KWU and IFK. Any event. So he posted this video with these kids sparring, and these kids are obviously very talented. They breathe them well over in Russia. That's all I can say.
The technique they're doing is superb. What they're doing was superb. But I mean, come on.
Okay, so so this is where it segues in. So I was of the opinion I touched base with Terry that I think they're going a little heavy.
How old would you say they are? Would you say they but
well, we'll play the video in a second. But man, they can't be more than 7. So on that note, let's play the video. So I'll share the screen, and hopefully you can let me know if you can see it here. Oh shit! Hopefully I didn't just end the meeting. Okay, so can you see my screen? Okay, so here we go. Yeah. Let's watch these little killers. Let's get some volume.
And there's no sound playing on that, but when you watch it, you can hear them slapping and laying into each other.
All right, that's enough. So you get the idea. So obviously these kids, like we were saying, have really high level, really good pedigree.
Excellent technique. Brilliant.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I'm just wondering about. I mean, they're pretty young. The cumulative if they keep going like that.
They're like 6 or 7. And the thing is, I mean, I understand different cultures and different countries have different ways and stuff, but I mean, children don't fight with contact. Oyama, this guy, whose style it is, Sosai, he never let children fight with contact. They don't do knuckle push-ups. They don't do Makawara training because children's bones are still forming. They're soft. And what happens is when you subject them to that type of training over a prolonged period, they injure themselves and they'll have bone deformities. And you can ask any pediatrician this, and they'll tell you, which is why, Britain, Australia, I don't think Canada plays rugby, do they? New Zealand, we've got rugby, hard contact game. Children play touch rugby. You touch, put the ball down, pass it on. There's no heavy tackling until you start, into your teens. And then you start applying the contact.
Well, that's we could segue into another area in a second on that. And one thing is around padding, because a lot of people think if you're padded up, that's a protection too, which it is. Don't get me wrong, it is to a degree. But here in North America, we have American style football, and they're all padded up. However, they get more concussions and more physical damage than our counterparts doing rugby in Europe because they have a false sense of security. They got their helmet on and then boom, brains are smashing. But that's a whole other side. So
it's exactly the same as when you're sparring as well, though, with someone. When you spar bare knuckle and you're hitting them, there's a certain degree. When you put gloves on, you're like, we've got gloves on. I just hit them as hard as I can. You'd be all right.
It's true. It's true. And that's another unknown, a lot of people don't realize either. Boxing gloves and stuff, they're not there to protect the guy's face or head. They're to protect your hand. Like, people don't realize that. The gloves are just so you don't break your fist. It's not so you don't break the face. Anyway, my thing was, I just worry about kids with concussive stuff. Like, that's playing with fire.
And those kids though, I mean, that video, when we shared it, doesn't do it justice because you can't hear it and it's a bit jittery. But when you watch it, I mean, they're being walloped across the face hard, and you can see the kids looking at the camera and being like, "Oh, do we keep on?"
Now, when I played it, the volume was coming through, so maybe when I play the recording back, or you guys can hear it. I don't know if not, but yeah, you're right. And you know what? Again, like. This guy, their coach, and I did get his name here, is Evgeny, and I probably butchering his name, Evgeny Mumro, or Sensei Evgeny Mumro. He's IFK. Again, these kids may not even train like this all the time. We got to remember, people put the camera on and go, right? So it's not about that. This is nothing against him or his.
This is what I was thinking afterwards. I was thinking, if it's put on just as a one-off thing for the camera, it's like, yeah, okay, I see that. But if that's how they're training all the time, and to be honest, but I understand the mentality and the culture of Eastern European countries. My wife is Eastern European, so it's a very harsh mentality of, let them fight. They want to fight. And it's that, all about strength.
Yeah.
But, you look at some of the comments and some of the people on there, and I would say it's all from non-Western countries.
Well, you're talking about I know it was shared on Facebook and some other places.
It was shared on one of the pages, but then people start commenting on it and talking about it. And they're like, "Oh, it's beautiful! Look at the children fighting! I want to see the blood. Make them strong!" and it's like, that's people's mentality towards it. And you're thinking, no. And I commented on this page, and I was like, "Listen, that's not right. That's not good. That's ridiculous. Source, I never had children fighting like that." And other people were agreeing and saying, "No, it's not. It's not good. It looks good if it's a one-off of the cameras, fair enough. But you can't have kids training like that."
Yeah.
With no longevity.
So speaking of the longevity thing, and then going into it, and I actually, because I didn't know that video thing, that was just today, because I was making notes.
Fluke today, wasn't it? Fluke.
Yeah, absolutely. And I I've actually made show notes. Man, we're getting serious. So, and I was looking up some stuff. So these are some things I found out, because I was thinking about Muay Thai fighters who you think are hardcore fighters, right? And they're training from the age of those kids.
From the age of like 5 or 6, they fight in
hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pro matches. But what I found out from this research I did, so they'll spar about 20 plus rounds a day. But in order to do that, they go light. So when they are sparring, they may do conditioning for their shins and conditioning for different stuff, but they actually do spar light. And these are some quotes I found. They work on their eyes more than their bodies. So angles and things of that nature.
Coordination.
Yeah, exactly. And then also, because somebody I really admire was Freddie Roach. I mean, Freddie Roach, not only a great boxer, but one of the greatest coaches in the world. And he's recognized as the authority on boxing, and he advocates light sparring as well. And he's been quoted as saying that light sparring works on your timing, accuracy, sharpness, and it's there for longevity. And his thing, and some other fighters that I found said, when you do go heavy, and there's a place and time for it, but when you practice like that all the time, you lose technique because you're more tense. You're more
looking about trying to hurt them.
Yeah, or protecting yourself. Whereas if you have that safety of being able to go lighter, you can you can work on timing. You can work on things that you might not usually do because you're not want to get
Yeah.
knocked out. Yeah.
I mean, we all, when I was competing, and I went to Sweden with Sean Robert Vickland, who he went out to Hombo, trained with Sosa. He also went out to South America, trained with Filio Glaube, Shani Sobe, trained out there as well. So me and my friend Spence, we went out to Sweden, and we stayed out there for 6 weeks.
IFK Spence?
Yeah, he's close by me. Spence, he's a good mate of mine.
Oh, he's awesome.
Me and Spencer, we went to Sweden together, and we were out there for like 5 or 6 weeks, training 6 hours a day, every day, constantly training. And we loved it. But when we sparred, and like I remember Sean Roberts saying, 10%, 10% power. Just look for the movements, just play tag with each other. And then you can start to, you relax and you go for things because you know, if I missed, I'm not going to get my ribs broke.
Yeah.
But you know, you start to throw, and then you take it up. So the closer, you know, we'd have some heavy sparring days where we'd be like, right, let's go for it today. And then towards the tournament, you'd lean off for about 2 weeks. You'd stay off, not do sparring before the tournament for about 2 weeks. You don't want to pick up a little niggle.
That's
and
how
then
Sensei Steve is, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you would just be doing rounds on the bag, and then probably about 4 days before the tournament, nothing at all. Yeah. So by the time the tournament comes,
you're fresh.
Your body's ready again. You're like, oh, I want to do something now. I'm ready to go again.
Yeah, and this actually even, like, again, this loops back to what we were talking about in the first episode as well, right? With the intensity of things. No? You remember?
Go on, that was 2 days ago. What did we say?
No, we're just talking about when you know, remember the guy who was in the, I forget the video we're showing, that he went too heavy with Kurbanov, right?
Yeah.
In the dojo.
Yeah.
So I'm saying the same thing in the dojo when you're practicing. Like I've had it to, even unfortunately haven't been in a dojo in a year, but haven't sparred. But when we were, yeah, you'd have those. It was usually lower belts that will go going heavy, and you're like, whatever. But then my turn, I would look forward to coming around to the higher belts or Sensei Steve or somebody, because then I knew, okay, now we've relaxed. We're going to work technique and all this stuff. I get a chance to actually learn, right? Yeah. So I think it comes from that experience as well.
It is, and back to that we were talking about. And remember, we mentioned in the comments afterwards, there's another video of Zahari.
Oh yes,
with a very similar thing. Well, I reached out to Zahari and I spoke to him.
Right.
And I said, you know, what was going on in that clip? What was happening? And he was saying it's a fighting camp. I think it was Poland. He was saying, or Bulgaria. Everybody's training, and he says everybody should be training holistically, taking it nice and easy, and going. This person, I mean, we'll put it up in the link. We'll put a link in the comments for people to see it. This person was coming in. He was a lot smaller. He was half the size of Zahari, a small guy, half the size, literally he was.
Yeah.
And he was just on him all the time. Now, Zahari had gloves on. The little guy didn't have gloves on. And he was laying into Zahari. And Zahari gave him a couple of warning shots, you know, knock him back a little bit. But this guy was up in his face all the time. And you could see Zahari like smiling, going, "What are you trying to prove? What, you know, what's going on here?" And the guy, and in the end, he just brought his knee up, caught him on the chin, dropped him.
Yeah, and then casually walks off.
Well, at least Zahari was actually circling around him like a lion, waiting to finish him off.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, just walking around him, looking at him on the floor, like, yeah.
And he fixes his key.
Yeah, next one.
Yeah, exactly.
It is. So, and they get both instances then. It's a lack of respect.
Yeah.
These are champions.
Yeah.
You're not respecting.
Now, I know it goes both ways too. Again, when I was doing research on this, like, I know for a fact Dutch fighters, Dutch kickboxers love to go heavy. They love to train heavy. That is their thing. So obviously you're going to have people on both sides of the coin. But for me, I mean, obviously I'm not a professional fighter or anything like that, and you definitely have more experience than me. But for me, I just look at it from health perspective. Like, your body just can't handle that long, or the brain bucket for that matter.
You can't do it. And even now, I mean, I'm 40 now.
Yeah.
I know you were like 41, 42.
I'm 50, my friend. 50.
Oh, 50. Look at him.
Almost 51.
And this is it. Our bodies are different now.
Yeah.
We cannot take the punishment and recover like we used to when I was in the 20s.
No.
And it's not. And it's like, I still love sparring. I love fighting. And I do love to mix it up. And I love to get in there. But if I come up against a 25-year-old version of me when I was 25, I'm getting hurt.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I got to fight differently. I need to be a lot more sneakily because I'm not as fast as them. I'm not as strong as them. I won't recover like they do. And this is what we were saying. When people are fighting, 10, 15 years of tournament work, and then you retire from tournaments, and you bring on then you start looking at kata and you start looking at other things of karate. That's what you should be doing.
Which is the beautiful thing of karate and things like Kyokushin as well. Like, you know, other arts, and I don't want to bash any other arts, but as you do progress through and you can handle that stuff, you can focus on other areas, whether it's kata or, you know, kihon or bunkai and application, which we'll definitely in other episodes, I'm sure we're going to get into that
like
as well.
My Shian used to say to me, Gary, now Gary's in his 70s now, but you know, he trained in Hombu. He got his shodan under Sosai in Hombu back in the early 70s. And we were talking about it because I was his student and we were training. I was in my 20s. And I remember his wife asked him a question. She was like, who would win out of a fight with you and Terry? And I'm like, well, obviously it's going to be me. And he said, well, I would, because he wouldn't even see it coming. And it's a different thing. He's not going to stand in front of me toe to toe and fight me and beat me. He was 50, you know, he's like 30, 40 years older than me. He's going to win a different way. I'm not even going to see it coming. Yeah.
Again, going back to some of the stuff I was trying to find, I couldn't find much on specifically around full contact karate or Kyokushin, but it was mostly just full contact fighters and UFC and stuff. So I was interesting though to find out that guys who barely spar at all anymore. So Cowboy Sharon, so everybody knows from UFC.
Yeah.
He literally has not sparred in years. He doesn't even spar. So all he does is just drill. He said those days are behind him, and to our point, he wants to save his body and his head. And waiting for the ring. Conor McGregor, Greg Nelson, John Jones, Josh Thompson, Robbie Lawler, Demetrius Johnson. There's a whole bunch of them. They say the same thing to spar light now, and they save it for that event to go heavy. But the best quote though I heard is Connor. Even though Connor lost last week to the calf kick. That's a whole.
We're doing another show.
Yeah. But the quote I love from Connor on Light Sparring was, "Light Sparring is like upgrading your software without damaging your hardware."
Yeah.
Right, because you're working on your technique, you're working on all your different skills. Yeah, and you're not. Yeah, you don't have to worry about the hardware. Yeah. Anyway,
what's the time?
I have no idea.
Well, all right. What we've said is what we're going to try and do. We're going to try and keep these shows to 20 minutes. It's a quick soundbite for people to listen to. And what we've done, we've changed the day as well, haven't we? So we're going to be releasing Tuesdays and Fridays.
Makes more sense.
Give people a little bit more time to take it in. And we want people to comment, and we want people to come at us with questions, and then we can address them on Tuesday's show.
And like the Hodge twins go, it was a damn good show.
Damn good show.
We got to come up with something. But I liked your one the last time when you did your little. I kept it in there.
No, gut. But this is we're good. I mean, guys, we are evolving the same as everyone else. There's a lot of people out doing a lot of stuff. This wasn't really meant to be, we're professional podcasters, this is going to be our career. Me and Scott shoot the shit every week.
All the time. So we were like, why not just share it with people? We do this anyway.
And you always say like, God, I wish I'd recorded that conversation.
Yeah,
and posted it, because we've come up with some brilliant stuff. Let's be fair.
Yeah. Well, we are brilliant.
It's good. Hey, listen, My brilliance is only trumped by my humility.
Oh, so where are we now? Just out of curiosity, where are we now time-wise? Were you tracking it?
Well, I'm looking at the clock. We're about 20 minutes in, I think.
Okay,
I think
that's perfect.
Yeah, about 10 minutes. Yeah. So we'll wrap it up there then, shall we?
Yeah. So again, like I said before in the other episode, please make sure you give a little hizagiri to that like button. And it's really, really important to us as we try to build the channel, and hit the subscribe bell so you know anytime an episode drops, you'll get a notification for it. Because again, we want to try to build. Yeah, share this wherever you can. Yeah, we're doing this for fun. We're not into it to like try to become superstars with this stuff, but we do want to build this channel and get it out there and get conversations like this going.
And what we'll eventually do is when we get a bit more in it, we'll have people on.
Absolutely,
and we'll discuss stuff with people.
Yeah. Okay, that's it.
We're done.
That's it. We'll see people on Tuesday next week, and I'll see you.
Tuesday, take it easy.
All right. Us.
Us.
Bye, everyone.